Sir Charles on deck.
Yo, I think we lost the will, but then everything is fine. I do want to let you know that the title is Keynote, hosted by our own Delatoro McNeil. He's the best-selling author of Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, and he also has another best-selling book out on Amazon called The Courage, Facing Mortality. So the next voice that you're going to hear on the MIC is none other than my main man. This is Sir Charles.
We're live.
Cary.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning. Yes, sir. How you doing this morning?
All right, a fellow New Yorker, I know you got 25 minutes worth of spit, so the MIC is all yours, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot, Robert. First of all, I want to thank the whole crew, the whole hosting crew, Trevor, Shay, Velton, Dakisha, Barrett, Taria, Akia, although I haven't met you. Thanks, everyone, for having me on this morning. It's an awesome opportunity to share with like-minded individuals. So before I even start, I want to say, get your pen, get your pad, Penzu, whatever you use to take notes, because I'm going to go from beginning to end. It's not a lot of time, and I want you to get as much as you possibly can. All right, so what's so hard about being you? That's what we're talking about today. And I know some people say, well, that's ridiculous. What do you mean? I know who I am. I know where I live. I know how old I am, my name, etc., etc. But that's not the you that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the real, genuine you, the inner you, the you that wants, the you that strives, the you that thrives, the you that should be, could be, and would be. What's so hard about being you? Straight up. So look, I'm a big movie buff. So you're going to hear a lot of analogies that are, parallel to movies or that resonate with movies. And back in the day, I saw a movie called Wisdom. Now, I don't know if you remember it. It's an old movie. It was with Emilio Estevez and Demi Moore. Now, here's the thing. I watched the whole movie. It's kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde movie, a Robin Hood theme all combined into one. They were stealing the deeds from the banks so that the farmers and the landowners wouldn't be in debt and they wouldn't lose their property. But there was one line that really did it for me throughout the entire movie. And Emilio Estevez said, when I was a kid, they told me I could be anything I wanted to be. Anything I wanted to be. And I was like, wow, that really grabbed my attention, because I would say to you that many of us remember those days. They would ask you as a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Fireman, policeman, astronaut, a librarian, right? A school teacher. Boys say even things like a cowboy. And that's what society told us we could be. But what society did not tell us was that you had to learn all that you needed to learn in order to be any of those things. And society did not tell us that in order to be any of those things, you can't mess up in life. All you need is 1 or 2 strikes and you're out. Not 3 strikes, 1 or 2 strikes, and there's a great potential that your dreams and hopes will be nothing more than just mere words. And what happens a lot of times to many of us, we see someone or meet someone that's doing something cool. Then all of a sudden we want to get on that train. Well, someone told me a long time ago that if 2 of us are the same, 1 of us is not needed. And my point is, if you were to get on that train of the person that influenced you, is that your authentic you? You see, it's one thing to be your authentic you, and it's an entirely different thing to be an annoying echo. So you want to be that authentic you. And again, even as adults, not just children, but as adults, many of us truly do not know who we are. Look around. Look at how people behave on social media. If the latest thing is this, everyone's doing this. If the latest thing is that, everyone's doing that. Those trends and fads really may not work for you. Now, I understand in some ways you need to do certain things with technology. You need to, obviously have food, clothing, and shelter. So some things we're going to do as human beings will be similar. But the core essence of your decision to do that, is that really who you are and how you are? This is key, folks. Trust me. And I'm going to encourage you. You may not get everything. Everything may not be for you. Write down the things that really stand out for you. Now, think about it. I don't know if you've seen The Matrix. Now, I like The Matrix. I saw the first one, maybe the second one, but after a while, it kind of gets old. Truth be told, in The Matrix, you may remember Keanu Reeves, he was the one. He was Neo, right? He had the answer for everything. He had the ability for everyone. Well, I venture to say that you're the one too. I'm the one. In fact, we all are the one. Just think about it. When you were much younger, you were the one that got into mischief. You get a little bit older, you were the one that got into trouble. A little bit older, you were the one that slowly started to straighten up your life. And then got a little bit older, and you were the one that may have fallen on hard times. And eventually, as each stage progresses in our lives, you have maybe been the one that got into corporate America, or you were the one that went out in the world and learned a thing or two. And the point of it is, these things harden us in many cases or many experiences, because sometimes you don't see when you're going to get blindsided. You don't see it coming, but you're the one that's affected by it. So you try to mentally and emotionally prepare yourself to not fall into that hole again. You try to prevent yourself from going through those experiences. Now, on the surface, you may say, of course, why would I want to go through those things? Well, it's the training ground. It's literally the training ground, believe it or not. Now, no one wants to experience negative things or unkind experiences, physical, emotional, so on and so on. But it's the training ground to get you where you are or to get you where you want to be. I know for myself, I really never expected, to go through some of the experiences that I went through. I just didn't expect it. I thought that, you're a little kid, you grow up, you get a job, you get a family, and life is happily ever after. I didn't plan on, as a kid, becoming a teenager and then becoming a substance abuser. For over 25 years of my life, I was a drug addict. And boy, you're talking about an experience. That is something you can't script necessarily. And once I became an addict, once I realized that that's the space that was mine, I had to own that space, I never thought it would change. I literally never thought that my life would change. I couldn't imagine, I couldn't see, I couldn't visualize what a life of clean living would be like. So I thought that I would die a substance abuser, straight up. I love crack cocaine more than anything in the world. And when I tell people that are meeting me on this side of my life that was my life, they can't believe it. I'm glad they can't believe it to a degree, but I also have another group of people that ask me, yo, man, why do you talk about that? Why are you telling people about that? Especially people in corporate America or people that may not look like us. Well, I'm not ashamed. You see, I know that it was the training ground. And I'm sure you've had your own training ground. So what's so hard about being you? You see, the training ground that you have experienced, the training ground that you've hopefully come through, has placed you perfectly where you are. It has given you experience, and hopefully it's opened your eyes so that you can see your true potential. If I could have counted or added up all the money I threw away, all the time that I wasted, Lord knows where I would be. But you know what? I can't bank on that. I got to do the best I can do with where I am now and with the newfound experiences that I'm finally getting to see, for the first time in my life. Now, it's been about 20 some odd years that I've been off drugs and all that, but I am grateful every single day. And you see, I didn't know that part of the experience would consist of several layers. Like they say, there's layers to this, right? There's several layers to the training ground. And it's a process. Trust me when I tell you, it's a process that you must endure. You cannot shortcut that process. You shortcut the process and you shortcut your potential and you shortcut your potential for longevity. You see, part of the process for me, my family came from music. So I sang in the choir like a lot of people. Couldn't wait to get a lead song. I finally got a lead song. So now I'm all that in the bag of chips, right? And then I get my own band. So you know I'm really feeling myself, especially when people start liking what I do. I feel good. That song sounds just like the record. But what happens after that? You get more life experience. You get more exposed to more levels. From having my own band, I start doing poetry, I started acting. I was in a movie with Nicolas Cage. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I create movies, I edit. And I'm not trying to impress you. Trust me. I'm trying to impress upon you that there is no telling what your process will be like. And sometimes while you're going through that process, you're getting hints and glimpses of the direction you should go in. You're getting glimpses and hints on what it is that you really need to be better at or what you should focus on. But many of us meet that. You see, that pressure that you've gone through when you experience some of those failures, that pressure knocks some people right out the box. But you also know what they say about pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. But you know what? There's another level to the diamond being available to sell or having that right value. And that's the same thing with us. There's another level to what we have to offer. But you got to be open to it. So what's so hard about being you? Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of distractions, folks. I mean, even social media, it's a distraction. Let me give you a list of distractions that you may be able to identify with. I'm talking about cell phones, tablets, flat screens, smart TVs, gaming consoles, internet, social media platforms. These are all distractions. And sometimes these distractions are there to make you better. And you may not see it. It's just like the tragedies or the unexpected occurrences, the hiccups in life. Those distractions are there to see how tough you are. See if you learn how to go through them versus going around them and trying to avoid them. Once again, if you try to avoid the distractions, which you should, but the tough spots, if you try to avoid the learning process, this is where I'm really focusing on, that learning process, when you need to know how to get out of a bind, you won't. Because you took a shortcut. So you need these distractions and you need these tough times. You know, I think it was Alan Weiss that said, powerful growth is the key. Now, if powerful growth is the key, many of us think about it only from the positive side. But powerful growth also relates to the negative side, the side that you don't realize, wow, I'm going through this hardship. How can I get through it? Well, where it becomes powerful is that, it's like I think Takesha mentioned it earlier, it's not about being knocked down, but it's about if you get up, when you get up, how fast you get up. That's what the growth aspect is about. You have to be able and willing and most definitely ready to simply get up. So now I'm going to take you to a space that I'm hoping you can all relate to. And here's the question. What's your Wakanda look like? Yeah, I said it. What's your Wakanda look like? And I know you've seen the Marvel movies. You may not have seen that one, and maybe you have, but there's been enough talk about it. So what's your Wakanda look like? I want an answer. Not for me, but I want you to answer yourself. What does your Wakanda look like? You see, Wakanda should be a place of refuge. It should be your safe haven. It's the place where you can really be yourself. Now, everyone's Wakanda may be different. Some people's Wakanda is their house, their apartment. Some people it may be, who knows, the library, right? It's school, the gym. You know, that may be Wakanda for them. But for me, for example, I'm in Wakanda right now. Because anytime I'm on a platform, I have a responsibility to deliver a message, to empower, inspire, and encourage, and that frees me. Frees me to know limits. Because when I see the eyes in the participants' head rolling back, when I see them slightly nodding, when I see them deeply thinking, then I know I'm doing my job. You see, that's when I'm in Wakanda. T'Challa would let you know that his people meant everything to him. And they cherish Wakanda. And that's why Killmonger had his conflict with T'Challa for those very reasons. They saw it as a beautiful and a powerful place with much potential, but how they did things or wanted to do things was totally different. Polar opposites, but they both had value. So your Wakanda should have value. So my next question to you is, what's your vibranium? Literally, what's your vibranium? You see, if you remember the movie, if you've seen it, you know vibranium was that flower that T'Challa, he was the leader, he was the Black Panther, would ingest, and it gave him all the powers that he had, made him almost invincible, able to, do all the things he could do. If memory serves me right, his powers was equal to Captain America's shield, and there was someone else there. He was like just as strong as whatever the case may be. But if you're part of that Marvel universe, there's always the talk about, who's the strongest Marvel character, and T'Challa was considered one of them. So what's your vibranium? You see, is it books, audios, tapes? Is it YouTube University? Is it conferences, webinars? Is it teleseminars? You see, that's my source of vibranium. That's how you get re-fortified. That's how you get infused with the superpower to be all that you can be, regardless of your profession, regardless of the industry itself. Your vibranium supports you to do whatever your God-given gift, talent, skill, or ability is really all about. Now, I know you can't interact with me, but I'm hoping that I'm painting a picture for you to see yourself in a different light, because it's my responsibility for what's left over these 25 minutes for me to save you money and for me to save you time. Because when I was a drug addict, Lord knows how much money and time I wasted. So I want you to take advantage of everything that you possibly can, because whether you know it or not, you are the key. You see, and as a CEO, you have a responsibility. You need to get a return on your investment in everything, not some things, not sometime. Now, we know that the odds are going to work against you, but as a CEO, you are supposed to get a return on your investment of everything you do. I'm talking about the people that you interact with. I'm talking about the places that you go, and I'm talking about the things that you do. And if you don't, you must look in the mirror and ask that person in the mirror, why did you or why didn't you get a return when you did whatever you had to do? You see, it's important for us to realize we look at CEOs in corporate America as the thing. You don't understand that you're a CEO already. You are the most precious thing going on in your life, in your family life, maybe in your community, maybe in the region that you live in. There are people watching you because of the things you're doing, the way you do things, how you look, what kind of swag you have. They see you going, they see you coming all the time. You're going to conferences, you're going to events, you always look good, and you have certain people around you, and they don't have those people around them. They want to be like you, but maybe they don't know how to approach you. So there's still a responsibility on your life as a CEO. You may be the CEO in your whole family, and no one ever did anything significant except you. My friends, that's not a burden. That's a responsibility. So you have to realize that this world is in pain. So you need to have a sense of urgency. I was on I think I was scrolling on Facebook, and one of my mastermind partners was talking about having a sense of urgency, and I got excited. I'm like, whoa, I haven't even said those words in a while. A sense of urgency should be on your life, in the forefront of your mind, so that you know that no matter what you do, you must do it with a sense of purpose. It should be meaningful. It should be something that you're excited about, and you're going to get at it. See, when I say radiate the brain and change the game, it's because if you change your thinking, you can change your outcome. That's the bottom line. And I also say the cure for your life starts with you. Well, who else will it start with? You have the answers residing deep within yourself. All you have to do is get to that quiet space, avoid or ignore or push away those distractions, and the answers to what you need, what you want, will come to you. But you must be willing to put in the work. Now, no slant on anyone, but I'll tell you this straight up. Stop buying everything. You don't need everything. If you don't have a business or business model, you need to start with the first thing. Make a decision. What is it that you're going to do? You see, most of us get so distracted, again, going back to distractions, right? Hashtag distractions. We get so distracted because the speaker sounded so good, or they look like $1,000,000, and they're supposed to. But most of us don't follow up. I'll be honest with you. Follow up is one of my weakest points. But follow up is key. And there's follow up in different ways. Not just following up with clients, but following up with yourself. When you see a speaker, hear a speaker, and they're offering a sales program or a video program or whatever, if you haven't started a business, why are you buying it? You don't need it yet. And see, most people will buy something and not even utilize it. However, if you're a person that does what you say you're going to do, and you buy that program knowing, well, I don't need this yet, but when I get ready, after this coaching session, I'm going to see if I can implement it, or I'm going to see how I can implement it. If you know you're that person, by all means, buy it, because it will serve you. But some of us get so excited over every little thing. Squirrel, oh snap, what was that? Right? And then you got all this stuff in your closet, all this stuff in your garage, and you never used it. And if you could add up the money, you would be amazed how much you have thrown away. So you have to understand, stop buying everything and implement a sense of urgency in your mindset. Now, it's key. You must understand that there are various learning styles, and you need to know your own learning style. Because whatever way that you learn best, that's going to fuel you and take you to that next level. Some of us learn by visual, seeing. Some of us learn auditory, by hearing. Some of us learn by reading and writing. And some of us learn through kinesthetics, by doing. Identify your own best learning style so that you can take advantage of it and move forward in the course. In the course of developing your business, in the course of becoming a successful entrepreneur. And trust me, this relates to being an entrepreneur or in corporate America. It really doesn't matter. You need to take courses that cater to your best interests and ability to learn. Now, here's key. Don't discard all of the other learning styles simply because you can still gain something from them. You should not only want to do things one particular way. That's the good thing about, diversity and learning in different ways. But just like there are different learning styles, there are also different personality styles and personality types. And that's key also. Number one, you need to know what yours is. And many of us really don't know our own personality type. We see people we don't like. We see people we don't get along with. And I believe it's 12% of people form an opinion about others, and it's not normally verified. But if you knew that personality type, you would know what's going on with that person, or whether or not it even mattered to you. Think about it. You must learn personality types. You got your shark. That's the go-getter. They're not trying to waste time. They're trying to get at it straight up. Look, let's go. Let's do this. What's up? How much time we got? What time we need to be there? Let's go. That's your shark. And then you got the dolphin. Yo, as long as it's a networking event, there's drinks, there's food, we can hang a little bit, we can kick it. Yo, it's all good. Let's do business. What's up? What's up? What's up? Right? You know those type of people. In fact, you're probably one of those two types of people. And then you have the whale. Can we just, all get together and make this work? This is a lot of fun. I'm glad everyone showed up for the meeting. I'm glad everyone's here for the conference. Wow, this is a great group, right? You know those kind of people. They all want a group hug. Let's do a selfie all together. That's when they're at their best. And then you got the urchin. Well, hold it. Let's make sure it's in the rules. Is it permissible for us to do this? Do you just want to go by the numbers. And the truth of the matter is, there's nothing wrong with any of the personality types by themselves, but we all have a little bit of each of those. There's usually one dominant style left, but we all have a little bit of each of those in us, and that's what makes us who we are and how we are. So, my question to you is, what's so hard about being you? Now, I know I threw a lot out there at you. You may or may not have taken notes. I get it. Sometimes we just in flow, and sometimes, you just want to see if it's worth it to you. You're hearing what the speaker says. But I guarantee I've said something that has touched on a nerve that you can identify with, something you can resonate with, something that resonates with you. And if I have, I would encourage you to take action on that thing. Because, even the most successful people have the same problems. You may not see it or may not have thought of it, but they have the same problems. The only difference, there's a higher price point attached to it. So don't look at yourself as less than. Don't compare yourself with other people. Just know that you have a mission, and your mission is for you and you alone. And even if I was doing the exact same thing you were doing, same business, same industry, same profession, some people will like the way I present it, and some people will like the way that you present it. And that's human nature. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's something we should just accept. Now, I don't know how I'm doing on time, and I don't know if we'll have time for Q&A, but I really would have loved to have elaborated a little bit more in detail about these things, but I'm trying to make sure I get you all the information you need, and at the same time, not leave anything out, and respect the time for the platform. So how are we doing on time?
Mic check. Sir Charles Cary, you are doing fine on time, but if you thought you were going to leave this Black CEO Morning Show without imparting more knowledge through Q&A, you got another thing coming up. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your time, your wisdom, and your knowledge with us. Listeners, if you're out in the listening audience, hit star 2 to raise your hand. Hit star 2 to raise your hand and ask our guest speaker, Mr. Charles Cary, a question. But before we get to anybody in our listening audience, I know that the Morning Show crew has some things that they would like to ask of you, Sir Charles.
Yes.
So first up on the MIC is none other than T-Money, Taria Hodge. You got something to ask Sir Charles this morning?
Yes, I sure do. Good morning, Sir Charles Cary. How are you?
Fantastic, Taria. Good to hear you this morning. How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice.
Thank you.
And, I love the topic. You're welcome. I love the topic that you chose to talk about this morning. What's so hard about being you? And it's like right in alignment with the book that we're reading this week, Pivot by Adam Markell.
Wow.
And one of the things that he talks about in the book is uncovering your true identity. So I just thought it was like very, interesting, that you will come on here this morning and talk about, what's so hard about being you. So my question for you this morning is, some people never really get to the point where they overcome challenges or obstacles in their life, whether it's dealing with like maybe you're like overcoming a divorce or a bankruptcy or dealing with addiction, right? So my question to you is, and learn and how to use those experiences as a way to learn from them. So my question is, what was your turning point when you realized that you were created to be more, do more, and have more, and walk in your true purpose?
Well, first of all, I want to say, everything I'm speaking about today is from my upcoming book by the same title, What's So Hard About Being You. So you guys are getting an exclusive here today. So I'm excited and thankful that I get a chance to share that with you. But the turning point for me was, honestly, at the time, I have 3 children. My youngest 2 were very small, and they looked up at me with this crazy energy every day. Daddy, you want to take me to the park? Daddy, let's go outside. And, all this stuff. Daddy, let's play. And all I wanted to do was get high and hang out. That's all I wanted to do. And I would escape to where I thought they couldn't hear me and do my thing. Sun up to sun down. So I looked into their eyes, and it literally broke my heart. It broke my heart to the point that I felt so much pain and internal discomfort and inner turmoil. I couldn't even express the pain. I couldn't cry. I wanted to cry. I was just so fed up with myself. I couldn't stand the sight of myself. And I knew at that very moment I needed to do a 180-degree shift. I mean, there's a lot more that went into it, but I'll be honest with you, that really was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And from that moment, everything changed. Yeah. Took a while to get on my feet, but hey, you know.
Wow. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sir Charles. It's Keisha Williams.
Hey, what's up, Dakisha?
One of the things that I would like to ask, and thank you again for sharing your journey. What would you say was the one thing that has contributed to your success? And any tips that you could give our listeners for today?
Oh yeah, I pulled myself up by my bootstrap. I just got it going. You know what I'm saying? No, let me stop. No, honestly, that shift was the beginning of more spiritual and insightful education. You know, I knew coming from a spiritual family that I had a connection. So I definitely reached out to God from a spiritual perspective. But once I got on my feet, I became the student, the real student. You know, everything started out in Toastmasters, honestly, as far as the speaker thing or the speaker focus. But that introduced me to people like Dr. Willie Jolly, which opened my mind to Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy, and conferences and workshops, and you know, even brown bag luncheons, books. Oh my goodness, books and audios and videos. I mean, I really threw myself into a learning mode that even you. I mean, you know, your webinar challenge isn't new. You've been doing this for a minute. You know, as technology took over, learning from, you know, Shay and Trevor and Della Toro, and again, Dr. Jolly, even at a later point in my life. You know, I give credit for everywhere I'm able to absorb. I'm a huge sponge. And even now, I'm reading more than I ever have in life. I think I've read Think and Grow Rich was not a little book. I've read Think and Grow Rich at least 3 times now. So, and I still hold it like it's a Bible, like a resource. So we got to be willing to educate ourselves. Oh yeah, I got goodness, Think and Grow Rich. I've got Speak for a Living. I got 2 versions of that. I've got some T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen. Actually, even some of my fellow entrepreneurs like Sean DeRoe and of course Della Toro and Dr. Jolly and T.D. Jakes, and I mean, I got a whole assortment. Even people's biographies like Michael Jordan, Rick Pitino, you know, Eckhart Tolle. I mean, I've got books upon books, and the good thing is, of course, you can't read them all at the same time. Some of them I do Audible. I have the book and the Audible, but some of them I know that once I'm done with this book, I can move on to the next book. So I've got a bunch of stuff. I got Clockwork also in my library. I'm just trying to be more dialed in.
Awesome. Well, I guess my time is up, so I'm going to turn it over to the next host.
Oh, okay.
Sir Charles, how are you, my brother?
Oh, okay.